How many of us know that the game of chess originated in India in the name of Chaturanga? Chaturanga in Sanskrit means four-limbed or four arms, referring to the ancient Indian army divisions of infantry, cavalry, elephantry, and chariotry. In fact, there is a 1500-year-old temple, a Hindu temple in Tamilnadu of South India, near Tiruvarur, in which the presiding Lord Shiva is named as Saduranga Vallabhanatha. Prime Minister of India Shri Modi, in his inaugural speech of the 44th Chess Olympiad recently held in India, had mentioned about this wonderful temple and how India is well connected to the game of chess thousands and thousands of years before.
Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to the 44th Chess Olympiad being held in India. The most prestigious tournament in chess has come to India, the home of chess. This is the first time the Chess Olympiad is being held in the place of origin of chess of India. Sport has always been considered divine in our culture. In fact, in Tamilnadu, you will find the temple of Chaturanga Vallabhanatha. This temple at Thirupunur has an interesting story related to chess. Even God played a game of chess with a princess.
Like the game of chess, many more truths of our Hindu religion and scriptures have not been revealed to us for some reason or other. Though there are many, let us look at some in this short film. Hinduism has taught us many scientific facts without much hue and cry. Take for instance Dashavadaram, which existed as per Hinduism several thousand years before. It is nothing but the Darwin theory of evolution, which became more popular in our school studies. Dashavadaram unfortunately has no mention in the academic studies, even in Indian education. Like Dashavadaram, the Panchangam is another. Panchangam is a Hindu calendar which follows the traditional Indian cosmology, and its calculations are highly accurate. Though written thousands of years before, the predictions in the Panchangam is perfect to the second, whether it is eclipse, lunar modes, sunrise and sunset, weather forecast, movement of heavenly bodies, and so on. Any individual can consult the Panchangam to fix auspicious dates and time for festivals, marriage, and other religious activities. One should realize that the Panchangam, written thousands of years before, has baffled the modern day scientists and astronomical researchers for its accuracy. Like Dashavadaram and Panchangam, Hinduism can boast of many such incredible works written by our Vedic scholars. They had not used any scientific gadgets and laboratories, but still their knowledge has gained us a lot. In the year 2006, the International Astronomical Union came to the conclusion that Pluto, which was discovered in 1930, should not be considered as the ninth planet due to its small size. Hence, as of now, it is told that there are only 8 planets from the Sun and not 9 which we studied before. Has it not occurred to any of us that our Vedic scholars and astrologers had mentioned about these planets thousands of years before? Interestingly, they had not included Pluto in their findings. Can you believe it? Vedic scriptures had named these planets after having omitted not only Pluto but also Uranus and Neptune too. As they had only defined the planets, they called it grahams, which influence the human lives. Sun and Moon were also included in their findings as grahams. Other than these, Rahu and Ketu, which are the nodes of the Moon, were also included to form the Navagrahas, 9 planets. In fact, the 7 days of the week also correspond to the Navagrahams mentioned in the Hindu scriptures and astrology. One can easily find that the planets Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto were excluded in the Navagrahams of Hinduism. Though these 3 planets were not a part of the Navagrahams, we cannot come to the conclusion that the Vedic scholars of yesteryears were not aware of their existence. Though Uranus was discovered by modern science in 1781, Neptune in 1846, and Pluto in 1930, these 3 planets were discovered by Vedic scholars many thousand years before. Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto were mentioned in the Mahabharata written by Veda Vyasa. Can you believe it? It was written, some say 2500 years, some say 5000 years. Whatever it may be, it had been written well before our modern scientists have discovered it. It is surprising to note that how Vyasa had noted these astronomical bodies without any use of telescopes or modern gadgets. In one verse in Mahabharata, sage Vyasa says that some greenish white planet had crossed a star named Chitra, and he had named it Sweta, which was now called as Uranus. In another verse in Mahabharata, sage Vyasa says that a bluish white planet was in the star named Jeshta. He named it Shama, which is now called Neptune. Yet in another verse in Mahabharata, Veda Vyasa mentions that a stationary object may be a planet or a star, as it was very small in size, was troubling the star Kritika with its sharp rays. He called it Dikshana, which is now called Pluto. This clearly shows that Veda Vyasa had no doubt that Pluto was a planet, but it was too small, like a small star. Veda Vyasa had said that 7 great planets was moving away from the sun in his Mahabharata. This had been mentioned when he wrote about the 16th day of Kurukshetra. So, we can assume that sun and moon were added to the 7 great planets mentioned by Veda Vyasa, which form the Navagrahams, the 9 planets which are used to predict human lives and future. Only now in 2006, our astronomical experts, with the help of modern gadgets, have come to a conclusion that Pluto is no longer a planet. But we should be proud that our Veda Vyasa had said the same thing thousands of years before. Like sage Vyasa, many Indian scholars have not been mentioned in our study books, unfortunately. William Herschel found a place in our books for his discovery of Uranus in 13th March 1781 AD, but there is no mention about our Indian scholar Nilakanta Chaturdhara. Nilakanta Chaturdhara had called Uranus and Saturn as Mahapatha, and that Uranus was greenish white with a longer orbit and beyond Saturn. Interestingly, Nilakanta Chaturdhara had no place in our books, though he had lived in Varanasi much earlier to William Herschel. At least now, let us understand that the Hindu scriptures and their makers were well versed in science, though there was no scientific equipments and scientific labs in those days. As all the Hindu scriptures were factual, they have still managed to survive in spite of vested interest. Let us understand our scriptures, our Hindu scriptures. Better late than never. Please support my free channel by giving your like, subscribing, and do not forget to press the bell icon. Thank you.